2025 at 9 a.m. Present is myself, Councilmember Gunther, and Councilmember Holland, and staff.
Yeah.
We have no public comments. Correct, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, no comments.
Okay, Jen, 3A, library lease agreement. Councilmember Holland.
I haven't personally, not on these.
Yeah, the current lease agreement expires at the end of this year, so we just updated a draft agreement. We met with Pierce County Library already. There are no changes. It's been reviewed by both parties. All it does is just give the normal June to June CPIU cost increase for the building over there at 202 Washington, but there's no other changes to the lease agreement from last year.
I love Jeff. Nothing for me either. Looks Jen.
Okay to move it forward?
Yes.
We will do that.
Already cost $3,000. $3,000.
Yeah, a month.
Okay, agenda 3B, Murray's disposal rates. We do this about every year.
We sure do. So we have a franchise agreement with Murray's Disposal for our garbage services, as you know, and built into that franchise agreement is a cost increase each year. Section 8.3.4 allows for the contractor to apply for the city for a rate adjustment subject to review by council. So what they are asking for is just the normal regular rate increases, but they are also asking for an increase in services that would offset the state's new requirement for B&O tax increase. So I'm assuming garbage services are subject to that now since they're asking for it. So what would happen is it says that during the 2025 legislative session, the state of Washington enacted a 0.35% increase to the business and occupation tax for service-based businesses. While this change may not have a broad impact to all sectors, it directly affects Murray's as a solid waste provider. They're respectfully proposing a rate adjustment on top of their normal rate increases to help offset those costs, and the monthly impact of that pass-through would be 7 cents to 24 cents a month, depending on the level of service for residential customers, and 48 cents to $11.30 a month, depending on the level of service for commercial customers. This is purely a council decision. On page 19 and 20 and 21 are kind of the rate increases. So 19 starts it says Exhibit A, and that's just what the rates will be without that B&O tax increase. And starting on page 21, where you see it highlighted in yellow, says with B&O tax increase, it gives you what the rates would be if council chooses to adopt that B&O tax increase. So that is directly your guys' discretion, and staff are happy to let Murray's know either way.
Thank you, City Administrator. Councilmember Holland.
So they want to pass on both tax.
They want to, they want their annual rate adjustment that they have built in. Plus, they also want to pass through costs to the customer to help offset the 0.35% B&O tax increase. I believe when they've asked for something like this before, it was it fuel costs or something similar to that? Council voted no. So of course we brought this to you guys to discuss and make a decision.
I can see the regular rate increase, but I gotta say no on the additional tax. This is costing business.
We can bring it forward to council for study session discussion, prep it either way.
Going to the study session, okay, with you guys.
Yes, sir.
But I just,
There's not a lot we can do about regular rate adjustments. It's already built in, but
The rest of the conference, people, what they're gonna say on this.
we can certainly do that. We will move it forward. Any questions or anything else on this one?
So it says item 3 Delta, Old City Hall facility use request.
Well, I think you skipped one. Charter Park.
3C, 8025-103 Charter Park.
This one is just a general statement for you guys. So as you're aware, city has two grants that we've received, one for the sports courts, which matches 95.87% of funds for us, and then one for the pump track, which is a 50% match. RCO is recommending, the Recreation Conservation Office is recommending that we combine the grants into one project. It will streamline reporting. It will make cost tracking and reimbursement requests much simpler. And so we're still ironing out the details of that with RCO, but it kind of disappeared off the council agenda. So we didn't want you to think that we had forgotten about it. We're just still waiting to hear back from them on the final details, and then we'll move it forward. Originally, we were going to ask for a budget amendment to begin the cultural resources work in 2025 because it was budgeted for 2026, but I don't think we're going to get there now. I think with the holidays and everything else and combining this grant, that will be on schedule for a 2026 start date with all of that stuff. So I think that the budget amendment will not come back to council, but once we have more details on how all of this is going to go with the combining the grants, then we'll bring it back so we can brief the council on the status of that at that time.
Good. Now, we are on the 104 Old City Hall facilities.
Yeah, periodically we get questions from the public on the status of the old City Hall building and if we're going to do anything with it. So we always bring those to you. So attached is an email that Danielle had received and forwarded to Scott. They were wanting to know if there was a way to submit interest in the building, and we said we would bring it to you guys. You know, there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done on that building before it could be inhabitable for occupancy. I don't know what they want. All they said was interest, but we weren't sure if there was an appetite from council to field those kinds of requests, or if we want to wait till spring and kind of reassess.
I think we should wait, because I think it's something that we just wait on. So I think it's something that pushing back. What did they didn't say what they want to do.
All they said, submit an interest. That was very vague wording, and we just have to, yeah. We just kind of passed it forward. We weren't sure, you know, if we've talked about this building a couple times in this committee, weren't.
I know we had talked about it, but no. Sorry, I'm just curious what they want to do.
Sure. We can reach back out and ask them if they have a specific, you know, use that they're thinking about for using that building.
They know how much work they have to put into it before.
I don't know. See, I mean, we're at the very early stages. From the outside, it kind of looks more structurally sound and things than it does, I think, you know, from a construction standpoint. Yeah, I think it's, old. It's old, so.
Let's say you can order that stuff.
But we can certainly reach out and ask what their intent was for it. Sure, we'll bring it back.
My reading was that they want some options what the building could be used for. Not yours?
Let's see. They're just wondering if we had any usage plans for it, and then they said is there a way to submit an interest? So that's all I'm seeing from that person. So
Four.
they said before they knew it was used as an old city hall. But that is, yeah, it was not a very specific request, but we just let them know that the Community and Government Affairs Committee had been discussing whether to surplus or redevelop the building, or, you know, we aren't entirely sure as a council what we're gonna do with that building yet.
Yeah, they want to put the, cause they'll end up putting money into it to get it ready to use or whatever they gotta use it for. So I'm curious to know what they want it for.
Sure. Danielle, reach back out and just ask. No harm in finding out what the interest is.
Something they wanna buy. I don't know.
You never know.
Okay. Now. Agenda item 3E, safe parking.
This one has been your project.
Yes, it has.
So we, you know, you do, not quite super crunch time yet, but you had provided some revisions in September. And then it wasn't enough time for us to turn that back around for the October CGA meeting. So here it is in November, and staff are just need direction from the committee on what you guys want to do with those revisions and how you want to handle it from here.
Good, Councilman to my right.
I said, bring it to the study session, let them dissect it. Then see what happens after that. And I think in 2026, it will not pass.
I like my man. So I fully agree. But a couple things. Let me get. Read all the comments from the lower team, read. Going from the top, the first section, C2B, says to include it in appropriate zone somewhere. So I have some language as to do that further down. The next one, section C2CD, suggestion on having an exit plan, posting a bond in cash. Okay, so being a former homeless man myself, I totally agree on the client having to produce an exit plan. So, like what I do, what I currently do as case management with my own clients, with action, if plan A does not work out, what's your plan B? So with our clients in these safe parking programs, we want to know if things don't work out here, what's your plan for leaving? Where will you go? Do you have any support, family support, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that should be added, kept in. And then the second part, posting a bond and cash deposit, they have no money. So Councilman Holland, how do you feel about that? I've never heard it required anywhere.
Yeah, because they're homeless, but they don't have anything.
There's no money. So, I guess this committee will take the second part out. Section C2D, number 13, I agree, for me. Going further down, C2CD at 15, vehicle registered name of a occupant, okay, brakes, lights, horn signals, yep. Within how many days, Councilman Holland? Vehicle must pass a safety inspection within 360 days, within 1 year, 6 months. What seems reasonable to everybody, not just them?
Because these things should be working to be on the street anyway.
Be entered into the program, yes. How long should they be periodically checked anyways?
So 6 months.
Okay. 6 months. For entrance, the next red section says, and vehicle must leave every day. There's my probably biggest burn spot right there. How do you feel?
Well, I'm gonna lean on you on that one, so if they're in the state park, don't they go to work or something, or state?
Well, see, this argument goes both ways. And I see both sides. So the primary argument is, well, they need to leave every day, because they need to be doing things and accomplishing goals. Go to the library, printing out some resumes, doing things, right? It's fine, but then all they do is they take the car and they drive and park in front of Safeway or the library. And then you can place business owners. Why are you moving them over to us every day? Why don't you just keep them where they're at? So I see both sides. One possible solution is we could include some language that says that they will be required to, for example, they will be required to leave the site every 7 days unless it's for being on a job, or because sometimes by having this requirement that they leave everything, it's during the hours that they need to be sleeping for their job. So there needs to be some caveats in that.
I think it should move. I'm with you on every day, because they could be singing, they're not going nowhere, the day off, and they're just gonna stay there the day off. If they're off that day, they're not gonna go anywhere. So we could say it has, I'm looking at something that reasonable things, you have to be gone, maybe call it every, once a week, but, every day, or something, that you're doing something. Just not sitting there every day. But I understand you can't move every day, because it could be a day off. You could be sick, so you're not gonna go anywhere. Be sick for a couple of days, you got a cold or flu, you're gonna be sick and be down for a couple of days. So, but some reasonable time, what is reasonable?
But what about if we have the vehicles must leave for 6 hours every week, unless approved by the safe parking management, which allows them for medical appointments or being sick or something.
Yeah, that way that person can know why they didn't. So someone will question, well, X, Y, didn't move today because that was his day off. Yeah, 2 days in a row. Are you on vacation? It's not gonna go anywhere, or they, hey, maybe they can furlough, like they're doing now, so you're waiting for the government. So, yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay.
So how did we want to phrase that? Every day
Plus something
or
like this.
check in with the,
Vehicles are required to move the site for 6 hours once a week. Unless approved so by safe parking management. Due to client progress, medical needs, or other reasonable needs, something like that.
I would just say, get prior, get approval from, parking management, to start labeling why they have to do it,
Well,
why.
see, I'm being clever. So I put in there the in progress part to spur those teams in that to be spurring your clients to make progress.
Okay,
That's what I do,
okay. Like, I'm in, do you on that?
Yeah, I want those case managers to be moving forward
Okay.
instead of just sitting there and roasting.
okay, so the initial part though is move for 6 hours once a week. Unless approved or reviewed by safe parking management due to client progress, medical needs, or other reasonable needs. start with that. Thank you.
That seems to be a good middle ground. Okay, going back, let's see here. To. Okay, now section C2D number 16. Footage kept for a week. Then there's a Karen, general committee question about this section. So the section reads, security cameras shall be installed to monitor the external spaces of the site. Cameras should cover all common areas or entrances and exits, ensuring the safety and security of residences. Footage kept for at least a week will be accessible only to authorized personnel and solely for security purposes. So do we want to keep that security camera footage in?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not against it. Footage keeps everybody, good neighbor. And also provide you footage for the bad guys coming overnight.
Martin,
Martin Farm.
yeah. But some of
And
this,
for domestic violence.
Yeah. some of this footage you can keep in the cloud for more than a week, can't you?
I would assume, I think that was just a general guideline.
It's just, I put stuff in the cloud years, as long as you got the space. That they're gonna keep a week, it's fine. Okay.
Sounds good to me. Next section, go down to section C2D number 19. Include somewhere exit plan with resources. Paragraph here. Rest behavior, district policy shall be established and show the boundaries of plan take. Policy will include clarification, guidance of behavior, consequences, eviction, violence, drug weapons. With some extra plan resources. So I guess there we could put somewhere, Danielle language. About that.
Just to provide an exit plan with showing resources. Okay, as a requirement. Or next steps.
Yeah, an exit plan shall also be provided, with resources shall be provided, yeah. Okay, C2D number 21. Curfew between 10 PM and 6 AM, crossed out, including restriction on noise. So. Madam CA, do you know why that was crossed out?
I think because we already have a noise ordinance in our city code that it would just be applicable. I think that the noise ordinance is like 10 PM to.
Yeah, so here again, the reason I put that in there was to be clever.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been involved in this whole safe parking project.
As the program manager, that's it. We'll be reading this ordinance.
I think that,
Reminded people like,
yeah, and I think maybe it's because it's kind of vague, like what is the restriction on noise? No talking, no cars revving, no slamming doors, like, you know, what specifically?
adding the word quiet on curfew, quiet curfew between 10 PM.
Or we could put quiet hours, you know, a curfew and quiet hours are between.
And also.
Or-
To the code, so that if they wanna go into the defined code.
That's what I was gonna say.
KYD, and I will tell them what the exact code is.
Yeah.
So. if you have-
Must follow OMC, whatever
That works
requirements.
for me.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll work it up and then of course, once council has a chance to look at it at the study session, kind of have a final draft, we'll send it off to legal for one more good review. They may have a couple,
Quiet in there some.
they may have a couple changes, but
Just trying to add little things here and there that, good actions. Guardrails. Okay, section C2D at number 22. General questions about this section. Section reads, there should be clear guidelines around visitors and guests, including time when guests are allowed, maximum number of visitors allowed per resident, process for approving visitors. Children must be with their parents or guardians at all times. This helps prevent disruptions and ensures the safety and comfort of all. General questions. And MCA, any thoughts here? That came out of lawyers?
No, I mean, let me think about it for a second.
I know in some of the houses we run at my current organization, we have some places where there's no guests allowed.
I'm
Where there are.
wondering if they want like a clear link to a set of rules and what are those rules, around guests, so,
It reads as like if it's specific to the site management though. So saying like, you need to consider these things, but you have to tell us what they are. Like, is there a time frame for guests? Are they allowed? Are they not allowed? But children must be with their parents at all times. That kind of thing. That's my
Yeah,
reading.
so that sentence could read, this shall be provided, to the city.
Yeah, so it seems like the onus is on site management and this is just things for them to consider when they're putting that together. But I think it's just, is there anything else you guys want to include or require, or just kind of leave it up to them?
Well, strict guidelines, and the city wants to know what the guidelines are, visitors and guests. In other words, the site should be, managed, with policies properly, so we want to know what the policy is around guests and visitors and so forth.
And I think all guests and visitors should check in with the site. We should keep a record of who come and go.
a log or something.
Wow. Somebody could have a domestic violence and the guy coming out there, coming back and forth. You know, we wanna know.
So, if visitors allowed, they need to have some kind of log to track it.
Do you wanna put it in?
Well, so that gets down to the weeds, but on that particular one, I think it's an important requirement. So I'm okay. You can put in their line, something about city requires.
Okay, I'll put,
Yeah,
check in, check out, because you wanna know when they come in and when they leave. You don't want guests to stay overnight either.
well, that depends on the site. What are we gonna include it?
But if it's guests, why are you staying overnight in Park State Public? The guests who visited, then don't you leave?
So what about if it's a homeless husband and wife? She's got nowhere else to go but his farm.
But they will be there together, won't they? Husband and wife, yeah. So that becomes, that's why they would check in, like, your last name, blah, 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 but that's, but it's kind of hard to do. The husband, the wife is, the husband's there, and the wife come there. To me, they'd be together, if they're both homeless, one of them, was one of them homeless, one of them not. But the other one should take the other one into their house.
So the 22, that line, there should be clear guidelines around visitors and guests, including times for non-overnight guests. So like that, you want to add a clarifying line, word number? Or, in parents, next to word allowed, are allowed, just put no overnights.
I mean, I don't know why would they have overnight guests?
Well, that's what we want to know.
The only thing I could think of is a child,
Different requirements.
but so the only thing I could think of is a child, but I don't know when or if that scenario would even happen.
Take a program, you've had different rules. So. Okay. Section, oh, that's it. So I like section C2D, good neighbor policy. And possibly of giving back. That was another clever thing I wanted in there. We got, these folks are living here around our neighbors. Be nice for them to give back. Keeps the community happy. Shows a good example. Good goodwill. Makes the program have a greater chance of success. Actually, then.
All right, and then I can recap the changes that I've tracked real quick, just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Oh, and then somewhere we need to, before you do that, you know,
Mhm.
very top, C2B, including appropriate zones. So that has to be included somewhere. So it'll be a new bullet point. I can either send you language. See, I have it here. Oh, so somewhere should we put, the safe parking program is limited only in zones designated by the city council. The zoning district shall be determined at adoption. We want to keep them somewhere in our city. I mean, we don't want it next to McDonald's. So in the original language of the policy, it's in there somewhere about 200 feet back from the main road or something like that.
We can check with Kim Gunderson, Community Development, and see if she has the specific language on where it is allowed. Or recommendations on where it might be appropriate to be allowed, if that helps.
So for now, let's keep this language.
Okay,
Safe parking program will be permitted only in zones designated by the city council. The specific zoning districts shall be, and then we'll either insert Kim's language.
okay,
We'll put determined at adoption.
okay.
Kim's language or determined at adoption.
We will work on that.
They don't have the thing, so many people in the school,
Right. Yes.
opportunity, area to go.
Yeah, and that could be a comma and must be 1,000 foot away from a school or whatever. However, if you were to talk to the school over on Southfield near Southfield Baptist, they had a safe program right across the street from the elementary school. They had a partnership that went on. They got along like ice cream and fudge. The kids enjoyed it, they learned, and the homeless people evidently enjoyed it. So, you know, that goes back to the stigma thing, but well, keep those people away from our neighborhood, our children in neighborhoods. But we gotta put something into it, right?
Okay, so for that specific item, C2B, include in appropriate zones addressing that is safe parking program permitted only in zones dedicated by city council, specific zoning district shall be, and then either determined in adoption or we'll reach out to Kim Gunderson for recommendations, like addressing distances from schools or businesses, etc. Anything that she might think need to be relevant. The other ones I'm tracking, number 12, remove the cash deposit. Number 15, vehicle inspections every 6 months,
Cash and bond.
cash and bond. Thank you. Number 15, vehicle must leave every day. Addressing that is required to move for 6 hours once a week unless approved or reviewed by safe parking management due to client progress, medical needs, or other reasonable needs. Number 19, provide an exit plan.
Their vehicle repair maybe.
Okay,
Vehicle repairs. You agree with that?
all right. Client progress, medical needs, vehicle repairs, or other reasonable needs. Number 19, include, provide an exit plan or next step, showing resources. Number 21, site code for noise complaints. So we're gonna be citing the OMC. And then at number 2, if visitors are allowed, site management needs to have a log tracking the visitors with a check-in and check-out. And they also need to clarify, non-overnight guests, or if they're having non-overnight guests. If they're not allowing overnight guests. I'll clean up the language. It'll sound better. And then those are all the changes that I'm tracking.
And then up there with the comments about leaving the property overnight, can you put in that comma series employment schedules?
Yes.
And then also, I think we should add in there another section. That the hosting organization shall assist residents in maintaining their operational vehicle status, including accessing low-cost repairs, insurance navigation, registration, renewal assistance, whatever comes up while the car is on set.
And we should also put the message, have a valid license plate, because I don't know how you put that, non-expired plate.
Like a registered,
Yeah, that is-
current registered vehicle. And what was the first part? The hosting organization
Well,
assist with?
I'm just wondering if like a church wanted to do something like that, would they be less inclined to host something if they had to be responsible for doing all of those things if they didn't have the manpower or the know-how to do it?
Yeah. But at the same time, we don't want that. It's we typically be taken care of by the case management team to make sure that the cars are being required to be moved once a week. So that takes care of the vehicle breaking down. And it has to be registered and so forth to stay there. But what happens when the car loses a tire? I mean, where is it in town? What's gonna happen to it? Just gonna sit there? So. Maybe something they can attack the going down the road.
Yeah, because they would have to resource it out of time, collect it, that it off the car, or all the tire companies, the tire place. In order to have to be out of something, and to purchase or repair. And I don't think that they can bear repair tires. But. I think you keep thinking about, we're coming from more and more things on the vehicle, so you have a broken windshield, you have blah, 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 so. I said, the legal to drive on the street, they can put a donut on as a tire. We all have done that back in the day. So,
So is there, Daniel, someplace in there? Current policy that what kind of language would make sense?
I think so, as far as like, we could probably loop it into like the vehicle inspections, needing it has to be current registration and all that. The thing that I'm questioning or unsure about is what we're holding the host organization to as far as assistance. Are we
Much because.
requiring them to assist them?
Personally, I want to hold them to balance. I don't want to get into the weeds with them. But I want some good guardrails around it, so it's successful in our city. Doesn't create undue problems. Because I've been in these programs before. We turn good messes, or they can be well run and have newspapers get pictures and show them as model examples for the state. So.
I got a question, so what is the repercussion if they do not? do it? If they,
Well, they have to, do they not have to come for review for the city once a year? Is that in that somewhere? Yeah,
I thought that they renewed. I don't know how many, once a year, I'm not sure. What it is.
it's in there somewhere.
Having the organization itself being reviewed, is that what you're saying?
Right.
With the
Yeah,
city?
but they have to come before the city.
I'm looking. The safe parking site shall operate on an annual permit basis. The permit will be subject to annual review by the city, taking into account compliance with all requirements and feedback from residents, community members, and local authorities. Non-compliance with program requirements or negative feedback may result in a non-renewal of the permit. It's on section C2D, add number 25.
Another question, so who's checking to make sure that the license registration, you say the case manager, but it's the, case manager can say, yes, they're doing it, but not doing it, who's gonna go and not receive? Okay, they got expired tabs, the correct not running. Does that
I assume the city administrator,
who made sense, that's gonna be
he's here to keep that.
well, they would actually go out there, and they're not good, but we would call
Code enforcement, which we don't have a code enforcement officer at the moment. He has left us. So,
I guess it would be a currently responsive system.
them. Right, hopefully, they're not a code enforcement.
well, I mean, it would seem to me that the case manager would be the one keeping track
Right.
of those requirements. And, you know, if the vehicle is on their premises in a facility that they're running, they should ensure that it's licensed, and the tabs are up to date or something like that.
So, one solution, is that the city can request, a cash report once a year from the organization, to include, such areas as, current, population count, that's the number of exits this year to housing. Are all vehicles, registered in operational order, you know, key performance indicators, KPIs.
Doesn't have to come when it comes to the county, you'll have to bring records in.
I would assume, yeah, I mean,
Start proving that you're doing the job. Take out how many people within compliance, not in compliance.
I think that the thing we have to consider is does the council want to run the safe parking program? Or do we want to have a case manager on site that runs the safe parking program and we just allow it by code? So when we get into the weeds of trying to enforce things like, you know, tags on cars and operational status, then that in turn becomes like the city is running the safe parking program. So I mean, all of those it would seem would be more appropriate to be part of like the case manager, whoever's running that site would put together a plan, bring it to the city. This is the plan for safe parking. These are the parameters for safe parking, and either council would decide that that fits in with their code and their, what am I trying to say? Their vision for safe parking, or it doesn't, and then act appropriately from there.
Especially you don't want to have the city running it and checking and all that, without too many irons in the fire.
Well, we don't have the manpower to do it at the moment. Even with a code enforcement officer, we wouldn't have the manpower to run a facility like that. You know, council would have to hire another employee, and that person would have to be well-versed in case management and working with the unhoused and things like that. So,
So you're against, an annual status report?
no, not at all.
Oh,
Just not the day-to-day
is that
coming in every 6 months and saying, is everyone registered? Like, yeah.
good advice then?
Yes, I think that they need to report back to council, you know, how their program is running once a year or twice a year, whatever council feels is appropriate. I would I would caution against getting too much into the weeds of how the day-to-day operations run and, leave that to
Yeah.
the case managers.
So here's things, Daniel, we could ask for in the staff report, so somewhere in there, there should be an annual staff report submitted to the city. Items that shall be covered is number of residents enrolled, number of vehicles on site.
And I would encourage you maybe to think of in the first year, I thought I remembered reading this before, but I'm having a hard time finding it in this document, but that in the first year, it might be a check-in every 3 months. And then in the second year, it was a check-in every 6 months. And but I'm not seeing it here, but it might be better when the program is just beginning to do more frequent check-ins than just once a year.
Like a conditional.
Yeah, I just that they need to report back to council or attend a CGA meeting once a quarter
Yeah,
to report on how their safe parking program is going and, that way if there are issues that council has been made aware of, they can be communicated back and forth to that organization.
they're gonna have to report to council, they report to this committee, they report to our staff, so they're staff and staff members do that report, I'll say, yeah, you're doing good, keep on go.
So break it down. How often should they submit a status report to the city? Once a year? Yeah, okay, and then you were talking about something during the first year?
For sure.
Like progress reports once a quarter or 4 times a year.
So once a
Like-
year, a status report shall be admitted to the city. And then for the first year, once every quarter, a progress report shall be given to the committee.
Do like first year quarterly, second year every 6 months, and then by the time you're on your third year, it's just part of your annual review, maybe? Narrow it down.
Yeah, I think, if someone is able to pull off the safe parking program for a couple of years, I would think they would have it down by then, and it would be more just of an annual reporting basis, but for the first year, it might be good for council to get a status report from them every few months, just to, I would assume there will probably be questions and concerns from the community that might need to be addressed as well. So it would provide a forum for, council or staff or whoever is the appropriate person to, communicate those concerns to the case manager and then back to council.
Cause I said, reported, so we don't wanna go to council meeting every.
No.
There's our staff members. that
Yep.
Sit down and say, these are the things going on, blah, 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 and they can do staffing. Maybe the council can read it, it's okay.
Sure.
Well, good. Then they would have questions of the citizen, would have questions of us and say, hey, I saw such and such happen on this day, I can feed that back to you, on this day at this time, I saw somebody doing something that was wrong.
Yeah, they could submit a report quarterly to the city administrator or the clerk or whoever is the appropriate staff member. And then, if there's issues, obviously it will get pinged around staff. And then, we'll write up an agenda bill once a quarter and give you the bullet points unless, of course, something needs to be addressed in a much quicker fashion.
So Danielle, in the staff report section.
Number of violations, number of violations.
Or violations, yeah, complaints.
So like outside complaints, violation,
Oh, this catch last 5 minutes.
It said
should have
that
been recording the
before.
whole time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So complaints and phone calls, so that would be like outside complaints, outside police calls, sorry. And then violations would be internally what they're tracking. Okay.
What do you think about employment rates?
I think that's a harder metric to track, but maybe just employment status, maybe at the time of the report, how many of their residents are employed and how many are not.
That'd be quick and easy to do instead of saying that Joe is employed at so-and-so and Sue is employed at so-and-so. I mean, you guys unemployed, I mean, people not employed.
Is it important?
I don't know if it's important to the city. I think it's important to the case managers.
Internally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's getting too,
Using that, I mean, they have, I mean, first of all, why does it matter if they have a job or not? I mean, they're human beings, maybe they have a mental illness, they can't work.
from the city standpoint, I think we would just want to know, violations, problems.
Yeah.
How things are running, interest probably, or, things like that. Status of how full they are, maybe they have one resident instead of 7, or,
Community events attended. I want to prod them that they need to be talking to the community, it's not, I mean, staying in the hole.
The organization?
well, that's something that the organization would have to work out, but that wouldn't go in our code.
So you would need a statute for it?
Oh, in the report. I mean, we would develop a status report once we had interest from someone. These are just kind of
Well, yeah,
ideas.
Suggestions.
Number of residents enrolled, number of vehicles on site, and number of complaints, comma, police calls, comma, what was the third one?
Internal violations. So like anything that they're tracking.
Violations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
think that's
can-
a good like base. And then we can go from there.
And I think that Kim Gunderson had been the one that had been taking kind of the lead on this project, so we'll take these edits and run them back by her and make sure she doesn't see anything that might not be applicable or.
Yeah, general summary or other
Yeah.
information, I think should be, yeah. Additional information.
Okay,
And then, so this is moving to. You don't have Zoom open, do you?
Okay.
you'll put this forward to the study session?
We sure will.
Then I'll create update for them.
We'll let them know what items that you're tracking and, yep, we'll move it forward and they'll be able to weigh in and,
So, yeah, we'll be submitting a new policy, Title 13, to the study session for discussion.
Mhm. Or we could do, yeah, take what we have right here, maybe do it in a different color, like this is what we were reviewing, this is what CGA is suggesting. And then bring it forward.
Okay,
of course, you'll be taking the lead on this.
happy to. Get back in my, here.
Just meeting minutes now.
Okay, approval of minutes, October 1st, 2025, yes. And action items, roundtable review, final comments, Councilmember Holland.
I don't have anything, as a councilor, as a member, as a citizen. How do I get parking signs in front of my house for people that are coming off the hill and they're blocking my drive? I'm blowing my horn, hey, I'm backing out my car, and looking like I'm crazy.
Oh, like they're just parked on there.
You got that parking strip there, but you should be, do not block driveway.
What road are you on?
I'm a Calistoper.
Okay.
Where, are they just parked there or is it just the traffic backed up?
They're coming off the hill, say they wanna go their phone because the breakdown lane, they'll break down the lane, but they park right, snap my driveway, I'm trying to back out, then, and I'm blowing my horn, and this other guy almost got in at the scuffle, it's like, you didn't park in my driveway.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of saying, do not park driveway, I stripe it where you won't be parking in front of the driveway. It's getting frustrated.
Okay, we'll ask. I don't know if there's something you can specifically put out there or paint or,
I'll put some cones back there.
those are removable, so I would assume those are, You know, you can't, I don't think they'd allow you to
It's
put,
like in the morning and you got, turning in, you got on the cell phone, I'm trying to turn in the driveway, and somebody's on the cell phone, I'm backing up traffic, blowing my horn, I have to get out the car, boom, 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 could you move?
That's
"Oh, I'm
crazy.
sorry, and just drive up a little bit,
That's crazy.
it's getting frustrating.
Wow.
Okay, final thoughts, staff?
I don't have anything. I think we're clear, we're good to go, and we'll move the items forward.
Okay, and for me,
Did we approve the minutes?
yeah, we did already.
Okay.
All good.
I'm good.
And then for me, good meeting, particularly on 3E. I'm glad we were, going to, update the council, hopefully make some progress for 2026 as council involved, so important stuff.
Perfect. Well, we'll get it prepared and we'll move it forward. All right. Okay, I think we're gonna hop into another meeting here.